Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
So I'm kind of a weird dude, and right now I hear you saying, yeah, we knew that. Thanks, bro. But what I'm specifically referring to is that when I go into a pre-release weekend or I'm opening my first packs of a new set, I oftentimes get excited about the little things, like the commons and the rares that I want to fill out my deck. Now, of course, if I pull a big dollar card or a big chase card, woohoo, I'm excited, of course. I ain't going to turn it down. But a lot of times, more of my excitement comes in looking at what I'm going to be able to play with, what I'm going to be able to use to build up my decks, and specific cards and tools I was using or looking for going in to be able to do that. So going into pre-release weekend, I wanted to list my top 10 functional cards from the Tales of Aria set that we'll all be using in our decks going forward. Hey folks, welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. I'm Andrew, your weird host. But seriously, so thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope your week's been going well. I hope that things go well this weekend. It's going to be very, very fun. A lot of fun for everybody. Get your hands on those first edition packs. Well, I guess not the first because the first were in Vegas, but the early first edition packs. Let's put it that way, right? So yeah, today. In a couple of videos ago, I went through the top 5 cards, my top 5 cards that I think everybody wants to open, right? And those are basically going to be, the chase cards, the higher dollar for their tier cards, those type of things. But today we're looking at Tales of Aria from a different perspective. I'm going through my top 10 functional cards from Tales of Aria. So what do I mean by a functional card? What I mean are the cards that are going to be seeing a ton of play, right? They may only be 15 cents. They may only be 25 cents. I mean, if you go on like Fab Foundry, I think Razor Reflex is like 25 cents, right? It's one of the most functional cards in the game. Just because it's a quarter doesn't mean it's not a damn good card, right? So today I want to go through those cards from Tales of Aria that, at least early, I think are basically going to serve a similar role. Okay, so starting number 10, going down to number 1. There's no limit on rarity here, but from a functional standpoint, most of these are going to be your commons and your rares, right? So number 10 is something we actually were able to spoil here on Dice Commando, is Ball Lightning. Whenever a lightning or elemental action card would deal damage as combat Chane, instead it deals that much damage +1. Note that does include this card, Go Again. So it's a 0, it's 0 and it's red for 3, yellow for 2, blue for 1. The blue is actually great. Now, something interesting to note on this is it defends for 0. It doesn't have no defense, which means you can defend with this because there is obviously a lot of stuff out there we've seen in this set, specifically the Earth stuff, that gives defense, right? So you'll see on some, on a lot of instant cards and stuff, they have no defense value. You cannot, like Smash with Big Tree was one from the last set. I know it's not an instant, but Smash with Big Tree from the last set, you could not defend with that card. It had no defense value. This is 0. But it does have a defense value. So you can defend with this, and if you need to. It's obviously going to not probably be high value, but in a pinch it can. But this card is going to functionally facilitate a lot of strategies, right? I can't imagine a Lightning deck not playing this card, right? Runeblade is going to be looking at this particularly to try and capitalize off the pings from the from the Arcane damage, right? Because as per what this reads, the Arcane damage would be boosted as well, right? So a 1 Arcane would become a 2 with Ball Lightning. There's no way Runeblade's not using this. There may be some Lexi builds that try to use this. That may be a little more niche. But again, this card is going to be, like I said, I can't imagine there being a Lightning deck, a Lightning strategy or I should say a go wide lightning strategy, right? It doesn't mean that if somebody's playing lightning, like Lexi might play lightning cards and not be trying to do the lightning strategy, but a functional lightning strategy of trying to go wide, which is really what lightning's trying to do, or at least on the surface, I can't imagine it not using ball lightning. Okay, next card this is a Majestic, but this is Pulse of Isenloft. So now this is a legendary, which makes it a little more odd because, again, it's going to be one of those short runs, and you can only have one in your deck, of course. But it's a 2-cost blue pitch. Ice, Earth, and Elemental action cards have +1 while defending this turn. This is an Ice, Earth defense reaction, right? So for 2, you defend 6, and it kind of does the flick-flack thing in that you gives additional stuff, or gives the stuff to follow it more defense. I think this is a very, very functional card that anybody who's playing Ice or Earth is going to include. And remember, it's not going to be like a deck-defining card because you can only run one of them, right? I think in my head, it's very similar to like the role of Soul Shield played in the previous set for mostly Prism. I mean, I played it in Bolton too, right? It's very, very similar to the role that a Soul Shield played, and I think this one's a little better, right? Because it gives now, of course, it only gives it to Ice, Earth, and Elemental, but then again, it's an Ice Earth itself, so like it's probably not really that much of a restriction there, right? So this card I think is very, very, very functional. I don't think there's going to be a lot of the decks that can run it that don't. All right, number 8, working our way down, is Sting of Sorcery. So this card, very, very, very good. Go again, attack action cards you control gain when you attack. With this, deal 1 Arcane to target hero. You could, of course, if you had a million cards and if you had all the possible cards you ever wanted, which you're not going to, but you could ball lightning into this and then do some attack stuff and get real ugly. So it's an aura that goes in play. It's blue for 0. This card's amazing. Every Runeblades can use it. I mean, there's no, maybe not every. 2 of the 3 Runeblades are guaranteed to use it. There may be something. This ride probably not. But for certain, the other 2 Runeblades are going to be using it. Again, it's very, very functional card. Yes, it's a Majestic. I do think it's going to be one of the more expensive Majestics. But again, you're playing this in your deck, right? So very, very functionally strong card. All right, next is Pulse of Volthaven. So this is, again, it's another one of the pulses. It's a legendary. This card is just phenomenal, right? It's a 0 red pitch, so nothing there, but you you're windmill slamming this down on the table as soon as you can get it. Your next lightning, ice, or elemental attack this turn gains +4. Doesn't have to be fused, doesn't have to do anything. It's just +4. That's pretty freaking good, right? The normal curve is 0 for 3, right? I mean, that's what we've seen on a lot of the cards that are red pitch. Your take aims, your nimbleisms, and so on and so on. The only restrictions, which again aren't really restrictions in this because you're only playing it in, right? It's lightning ice. You have to play it if your hero is lightning or ice, and you're probably playing a lot of other ones. So its restriction of only giving it to lightning, ice, or elemental is not really a restriction. It's just a 0 for 4. Again, you can only play one of them, so it's not like you have to change your build to wiggle it in. You just need the one fantastic functional card. I would imagine this is going to be in every deck. I mean, I think Lexi's going to like this for the dominate stuff. I mean, this card is really, really good. All right, next is Entwine Lightning. So this is just a boring common, but that's the type of stuff that Weirdo Andrew gets excited about, right? So Entwine Lightning, now this is a common, so of course it's a series. It's 0 red for 4, 3, and 2. Lightning Fusion. If Lightning was fused, if Entwine Lightning was fused, it gains Go again. So the reason I like this one is because you can fuse it with the card that you're going to follow it up with, right? So it doesn't have to hit to get anything. It's a 0, right? So you can do this with a 2-card hand, right? Entwine Lightning, throw Entwine Lightning down, fuse the lightning card. You have a lightning card which you fuse it with, and then you can play the lightning card. Now, of course, 2-card hand, if the one you're following it with is a 0, I get it. But my point here is I think fusing is going to be a lot harder than a lot of people think it's going to be to consistently do. And Entwine Lightning, though, I think is a functional fusing because there's not really a penalty to it, right? Because it's 0 and you can fuse the card you're going to play anyway, right? So, because if you want to give this go again, I mean, think about it this way, right? It's a 0 for 4 that you can just slap, like if it's the only card in your hand, 0 for 4, slap it down. 0 for 4s are good, right? They're very, very good. If you have another card in your hand, you can fuse it. I mean, of course, lightning, but you can fuse it and then follow it up. It's basically just a free bonus for doing what you were going to want to do anyway, right? So Entwine Lightning is really, really fundamental to the strategy as well. I mean, if you're playing a bunch of lightning cards, I don't know why you wouldn't do this. And you might, I mean, obviously I'm showing the red pitch. The 4s are really good. But for go again, maybe you're playing the blue pitch, right? Maybe you are. All right, next up is Seek and Destroy. This card is, again, functionally amazing. Your next arrow attack this turn gains +3, and if it hits a hero at the beginning of their next end phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all arsenal cards. Go again. What I mean, Azalea pumps at front, big arrow Azalea. That, I mean, obviously that's why she's on here. That's why I still got the background, because I love this card, right? Big arrow Azalea wants this, right? This is going to take, I used to play Nimblism, and by used to, meaning like I still do until I get 3 Seek and Destroys, Nimblism out. Maybe people, if they're not running Nimblism or running Plunder Run instead, there's an argument to be made for taking Plunder Run out. This card is that great into a red in a ledger. Furthermore, it's still fundamentally good, even if you can't get the on-hit thing, it's still a 0 for 3 that then threatens more than like a Nimblism, right? I mean, obviously it's a Majestic, so yes, it's strictly better than like a Nimblism, and that's okay, but in Ranger, of course, but then you're not talking in this conversation, right? So Seek and Destroy is functionally, it's strictly better than like a Nimblism or any type of card that does that type of thing. If you're playing Ranger, you're playing this card. I don't see a world that Ranger doesn't play this card, right? So very high on the functional abilities list. Right, next up in the number 4 slot, we have Thump. So this is a generic Guardian action, right? Any Guardian can use it. I don't like saying generic Guardian, but I think you guys know what I mean, right? Non-elemental Guardian. Well, it's not non-elemental because elemental can play it too. Generic Guardian. That's all really I can come up with. So Thump for 4. While Thump's attack is greater than its base attack, it has Dominate, and if it hits a hero, they discard a card. This card is really good, right? Really, really functionally good. It obviously has the series. Now, you kind of wish it was like a 4 for 7, so you could make, I guess you're trying to play blue with it anyway, but this card's really, really good. And again, it's a common, right? So for those, it's really going to help like the Bravo budget builds, right? Because then there's less stuff you have to go out and chase in terms of like the crushes and stuff as you grow. This card's really, really strong. All you really have to do is figure out a way to get its attack up. Now, that is the one kind of catch in like a Bravo build, but there are ways to get this done. And this card, could be really, really, really scary if you can figure out the right way to use it. I think that, again, I think functionally, even just being in its raw, even if just being what it is, like I said, I think it fits really well into like budget Bravo builds or something like that. Maybe even a budget old time build. We'll have to see how that comes out. But I think Thump is a really, really strong card, going in at least early. Right, next is Bolton Shot. This is a 0 for 4 for the red pitch. Ranger, generic Ranger arrow attack. While Bolton Shot's attack is greater than its base, it has Go Again, and if this hits, reload. This card is everything Ranger has wanted since Azalea came out. This card is phenomenal. And I think we will see if Lexi, there's an argument to be made that maybe it can't find a home in Lexi. I think it's too early to tell no. It's certainly going into Azalea. There's no question there. I would have to think that Lexi plays it, but maybe, Lexi may be focusing more on going wide or trying to like do Ice Disruption. All right, I said that wrong. Maybe focusing less on going wide and more on like the Dominate Ice Disruption. So maybe she doesn't end up running this. But this is a functionally strong card. It's a very, very good card. Like I said, it does everything that you want it to do. You're going to be pumping your stuff anyway. And remember the new the new bows, like Lexi's new bows, you can give stuff +1, so you can slap this down, give it the +1, and then it naturally would have go again. You don't necessarily get to reload unless it hits, but you still get to go again, which is fan-freaking-tastic for basically doing nothing. This card is phenomenal. All right. Next up, this card is, I do apologize for the image. It's not up on FabDB as the time I'm doing the editing for this. But Sigil of Suffering. So this is a Runeblade defense reaction. For 0, deal 1 arcane damage to the attacking hero. If you have dealt arcane damage this turn, Sigil of Suffering gains +1 defense. So it's a defense reaction. The red is 3, so it would in theory be 3, 2, 1. Not in theory, we've seen it. It's 3, 2, 1 because it always deals a 1 arcane damage and it always gives a +1. This card is phenomenal, right? Because let's run this down, right? You're slapping this down on their turn, right? So you're assuming they have null rune because they're playing you, and I mean I'm assuming, right? So they have to make a choice. They have to spend a resource, which they may not even have at the point that you play this, but let's assume they do. You are interfering then with their turn plan. So they have to make a choice. Do they continue with their turn plan? Do they abandon their turn plan and not take the damage and not give you the +1? Or do they do like this card forces the 2-point swing, right? Do they let it take? Because not only do they take 1, you are saving 1 because you're getting that plus, right? So you throw this down, sure, it's only defending for 3, but then they have to make a decision whether it's 4 and take 1 or whether it's that important that they push it through. And if they have to push, and so again, you may even be able to play in a situation where they don't have a choice. But even if they do, they have to make the decision on whether they want to continue with what their current turn plan was. This card is phenomenal. There's no way, at the very least, there's no way every Runeblade's not running this as red. I think it's an automatic 6 of in any Runeblade deck. I think. Again, you guys know I love forcing tough decisions. This is like the ultimate tough decision. It's a 2-point swing, or they have to decide on a 2-point swing or completely cratering their turn. And again, depending on the time you play it, they may not even have a choice. This is awesome. This card is really, really, really good, and it's only rare. So fantastic. All right, I could spend hours on that card, but moving on to what I've already previously said, I believe right now is the best card in the set, Tarasunder. This card is a functional monster. It does everything that Guardian, Bravo, that does everything every Guardian wants at this point, right? Tarasunder, 3 blue, your next Guardian attack this turn gains +1, dominate, and if this hits a hero, they discard 2 cards, right? Just a reminder, that attack means it can work on Anathos or whatever else you've got up your sleeve. This card is phenomenal, right? Hammer Pummel has won games, a lot of games of the history of Fab. And what you're doing is you are adding the threats. You're now adding threats, plus dominate. Dominate. This card is amazing, right? You get a hashtag amazeballs warning. Alarm, whatever. This card is phenomenal. So this is very clearly this without a doubt, at least right now, my number 1 card in all of Tales of Aria in terms of functional play, right? It's not necessarily the card I want the most, but in terms of functional play, I think this is the best card in the set. So there you have it. There are my top 10 functional cards from Tales of Aria. I just wanted to remind everybody, I know pre-releases are this weekend, but Gongai, we have a pre-release as well. I don't think it's sold out yet, but we only have a couple spots. So if you're in town or you want to come in town, come join us. I'd love to have you. I have the schedule up right now. Again, come, whether it be pre-release or something else, come join us. I'd love to have you guys. And then as you are starting to fill out your singles for Tales of Aria, right, for those new decks you're wanting to build, head on over to Fab Foundry using the link below. When you make your purchase, you give a small kickback to the channel, which helps me get my stuff going. So, I wanted to thank everyone for continuing to tune in. I did want to give special shout out to all of the new DC Fab supporters who have joined up in the last month or so. Thank you very, very much for helping us build that program. I've got some exciting news coming in the next week or so. For everybody, but also specifically for channel supporters. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below, what cards did I miss? What cards are functionally good that I blew over? Are there ones on there that you don't think belong on this list? Let me know in the comments. At the very least, if you're looking to help the channel, a like, subscribe, which you've probably already done already, I know you have. But throw a comment down below, because it helps get other stuff out there, right? So anyway, folks, thanks very much, and go Commando.